Welcome to the 17th anniversary of Steve Beverly's TV Classics.
It's Sunday night in the living room. Nothing sad, not a time of gloom. Turn on the set and go back in time. TV Classics, that won't cost you a dime. George and Gracie and all Miss Brooks. Sergeant and Friday will get rid of all the crooks. The password, the truth, and the price is right. Steve, Allen, and Benny are out of sight. Steve Beverly's TV Classics, where all reruns are the very best. Steve Beverly's TV Classics, where every show really stands the test. It's Sunday night, so pull up a chair. We got the great classics and we're ready to share. Steve Beverly's TV Classics, yeah. Steve Beverly's TV Classics,
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Steve Beverly's TV Classics. And if you see something that looks a little strange, if you're from anywhere in West Tennessee outside of Jackson, it probably is Steve Beverly's TV Classics 17th anniversary. Let me give you a little rundown about this. TV Classics 17 years ago was born on E+ TV6, the cable channel in Jackson, Tennessee. I wasn't sure it was going to last for 17 weeks, but there was a man who was in charge of telecommunications at JEA, Jackson Energy Authority in Jackson, and that is Sam Turner. And we had done a 2-hour show during the holidays in 2008. And it was really some of the classic TV shows that had a Christmas theme to it. And so he got some response and he said, "You think you could do some more of these for us?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure we could." So ultimately that led to some specials. And then in the summer of 2009, Steve Beverly's TV Classics became a regular part of that lineup on Channel 6 in Jackson. And 17 years later, we're still here. And tomorrow night, we are celebrating our 17th anniversary in Jackson. And so if you would like to see it and you don't live in Jackson, you can see it on eplusTV6.com on the World Wide Web, anywhere. Tablet, stream it, cast it to your big screen TV, but it's eplusTV6.com, EPLUS TV, the number 6.com. And you can see our full 3-hour 17th anniversary show. But if you can't do that, tonight is going to start the first of 3 weeks that we celebrate that anniversary with you here on West Tennessee PBS. Now, we've only been with you a little bit more than 2 years, but I think you're going to love what we have for you tonight and the next 2 weeks, because they're as much fun as any interviews that I have ever done. And tonight we begin with a woman who is absolutely one of the outstanding actresses that television has had over the last 50 plus years. She didn't really think that she would be going into television because her medium was the stage. And as Shakespeare said, the stage, all the world's a stage. And she felt absolutely comfortable with it. She did some minor parts in movies, and that gave her at least more of a resume. But what propelled her to television was a casting director at CBS that in 1972 had seen her work, and she knew that there was going to be a show on CBS that was being developed based on a made-for-TV movie called The Homecoming. Now, let me show you a clip from The Homecoming, and then we'll pick up the story from there.
A Christmas Story by Earl Hamner, Jr. A warm and inspiring all-family movie made especially for television. Starring Patricia Neal. story of a family and a Christmas Eve that changed their lives forever.
My grandfather used to say that nobody owns a mountain, but getting born and living and dying in its shadow, we loved Walton's Mountain and felt it was ours. The Walton family had endured in that part of the Blue Ridge for over 200 years, a short time in the memory of a mountain. Still, our roots had grown deep in its earth. When I was growing up there with my brothers and sisters, I was certain that no one on earth had quite so good a life. I was 15 and growing at an alarming rate. Each morning I woke, convinced I had added another inch to my height while I slept. I was trying hard to fill my father's shoes that winter. We were in the middle of the Depression, and the mill on which our village depended had closed. My father had found work in a town 50 miles away, and he could only be with us on weekends. On Christmas Eve, early in the afternoon, we had already started looking forward to his homecoming.
Come on, girl. I tell you, I don't know what's the matter with you. You think it's springtime or something? Next last time you're gonna get out of there and run up in the hill? You some kind of rabbit? Now move. Get up. Here, I'll give you some of the best hay you ever cracked your chin on. Open the door. Why don't you play something Christmassy, Jason?
It's not Christmas yet.
Well, it's Christmas Eve.
When will it really be Christmas, John boy?
Tonight at midnight when Grandpa rings the church bell.
Grandpa says at midnight on Christmas Eve, cows get down on their knees and pray.
You believe that, John boy?
Wouldn't that be a wonder?
I'm gonna find out. Gonna come up here tonight and keep watch. I'm coming with you, Mary Ellen.
Me too.
Now, the adult parts were almost totally recast for the Ultimate series after the Homecoming aired. Andrew Duggan played John Walton, and the cast told me they only worked with him one day because whether Daddy was going to make it home for Christmas was really up in the air, and so he only had 1 day's worth of shooting required for this TV movie. So he was John Walton, and of course the legendary actress Patricia Neal was Olivia Walton. And then you had Edgar Bergen, who of course was the great ventriloquist comic, and he was cast as Grandpa Walton. Ellen Corby, who did continue on with the series, she was Grandma. But there was a feeling that Patricia Neal perhaps could not make physically the rigors of a weekly series because she had been recovering from a stroke. And so they looked for someone new, and frankly, they wanted somebody who was unheralded in television. And ultimately, the casting director at CBS thought that Michael Learned would be just perfect for the role of Olivia Walton in the series that would be called The Waltons. So tonight, we're delighted to have her with us as a special guest star on Steve Beverly's TV Classics, as tonight and the next 2 weeks we celebrate here on West Tennessee PBS our 17th anniversary of the show when we all started back in 2009 in Jackson. But let's begin by showing you just a little bit of what life was like on the Waltons with Michael Learned.
Shoo-up-it-up, 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 ooh-up, shoo-up, right. Shoo-up. blunt. Saturday night, the set glows gold. Black and white stories never get old. My feet tap out on the linoleum floor. I'm back in the room from years before. Ooh, the screen gets wide when the theme song's right. I'm 10 years old again and I don't want it to end. Steve Beverly's TV classics. Oh, Steve Beverly's TV classics. Steve Beverly's TV classics. Oh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, those old school scenes got that sugar sweet gleam. I hear the crowd say hey, and the grown-up world fades away. Steve Beverly's TV classics. Oh, Steve Beverly's TV classics. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba, shoo-a-da, ba-ba-ba-da-ba-da-da-da-da-doo-wop.
It was one spring day during the war that our mother came back to us, and with her arrival it seemed that everything began to look brighter. In Europe and North Africa, the Allied forces were gaining strength, giving new hope to those of us on the home front. There were dark days still ahead, but for now it was peaceful on the mountain, and my family rejoiced in being together again.
Welcome back, Mama.
Elizabeth, my, how you've grown. What have you been feeding them? Jason, Jim Bob, you're so thin. Aaron, you're a young woman. Elizabeth, you too.
Mama, this is Cindy.
Miss Walton.
So pretty. I can't believe I'm finally home.
Well, let's get you settled, then maybe I'll believe it.
Wait till you see the
Mary Ellen, open this door at once. What are you doing in here with the curtains drawn? What's that you got on?
A new dress and I hate it. Look at me, Mama. Just look at me.
I'm looking.
Did you ever in your life see anything so pathetic?
That dress, it's just not your style. It doesn't bring out your best features.
That's for sure. I'm a freak. Instead of go run off with a carnival. I'm not like other girls at all.
Mary Ellen, you are not a freak. You're a fine-looking girl, next door to being beautiful.
You only say that because you're my mama.
Honey, listen. Trying to be somebody she's not never makes a person happy. You're Mary Ellen Walton, not Martha Rose Coverdale.
That's for sure.
If you like yourself, others are going to like you too.
Even boys?
Especially boys.
Mama, how come you're so smart and I'm so dumb?
Come look in the mirror. You see anybody dumb in there?
Mama, would you help me get out of this thing?
Sure.
Maybe if I
Spotted the trip going back for him.
Grandma's gonna be sorry she went visiting when she hears you're home, Mama.
She needs a vacation, knowing how well you all behaved while I was gone.
Oh, Mama, here. It took us a week to save up ration points to get that roast.
In that case, I'll have another piece.
That's all right. You eat up now. Keep your strength up.
Nothing wrong with my strength. The doctor says I'm good as new.
Somebody else is coming home, Mama. Amy Godsey.
That's good news. Seems like she's been at boarding school forever.
Yeah, Elizabeth's been marking the days off the calendar.
Boys don't understand about friends. All they know how to do is pow.
Pow?
Pow.
You're gonna notice a lot of changes on the mountain, Mama.
Oh, Mama, it is almost impossible to get stockings around here. I'm down to my last pair.
What you ought to try and find is a new spare tire.
Mom, there's a lot of new people around here. Selika's boarding house is filled with defense workers.
Mostly women. All the men are being drafted.
I hired Mary Ellen last month. She is the official resident nurse of the Pickett Defense Plant.
John Curtis hardly recognizes me without my uniform on.
Aw, he's a sweet baby, and we all love him extra hard when his mama's gone.
That'll be a good experience for you, Cindy, when you have your own baby.
And how about this? Right here on Steve Beverly's TV Classics, one of your all-time favorites, and we are delighted to have Michael Learned, multiple Emmy winner. Of course, you think about her naturally as the mother on the Waltons, of which I've had the opportunity to interview 3 of the children in the last 6 months. So we're getting... Yeah, I've interviewed John and Judy and Cammie.
Oh, well, we're second family. I watch those kids grow up.
I sense that from just talking to them that it's a family relationship that will never end. And and I can tell you, Michael, they love you. I know you know that, but it's absolutely mutual. Love you.
It's mutual. You know, we really all bonded. There was a chemistry that I don't think you can fake that we all had. Yeah. Even Ralph and I were like a real married couple. We never slept together, but we might as well have.
That, you know, the thing about it is that doesn't always happen with every show, including some that are successful, that the chemistry off camera, and particularly with a family show and as many as you had, it's amazing that it came across to the audience as it did.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's called good fortune, I think. And I don't mean money. I think we all were, we were doing it just because, well, Ralph and I were doing it initially because it was our kind of TV break. And then we all fell in love with each other. I don't think I honestly could have gotten through it without the humor and the fun of the kids. Cammie playing with salt, making little designs with salt on the dining room table. Just to you know, keep herself occupied. And Eric Scott was always cracking jokes and making me laugh until I cried because I was always upset about something. I was wanting to be home with my own kids, and there I was saying, "More coffee, John," for 15 hours, you know, and being nicely paid for it. It seemed like a fortune at the time because I had just come from doing theater where you practically pay yourself to be on stage. And it was such a nice big break for me, but I had I had conflictions because of my own children. You know, you spend so much time on the set, but my kids were great sports. They'd come visit me and they hung out with the Walton kids, and it was like we blended the families.
And as I mentioned to the 3 of your TV kids that I interviewed, the Waltons was actually one of the biggest upsets in television history because you were tossed in opposite the Flip Wilson Show and the Mod Squad, 2 heavyweights.
They were.
And this is the thing that I always love to talk about is that after the 5th show, you were in 63rd place in the ratings, and then NBC chose to preempt Flip with a documentary about the current energy crisis in America. Well, a lot of people didn't want to watch that because that was in the bottom slot, and apparently a lot of people said, let's go sample this show over on CBS. And suddenly you were in 18th place the next week. It went back down a bit, but not like it did. And slowly but surely, until you got to the 2-hour season finale, you were the number 2 show on television. Nobody could have predicted that.
No, it was a surprise. And because really, there was nothing like us. Earl Hamner was a storyteller, and the Waltons told stories about a time in American history, the Depression. I learned a lot myself doing the show because, you know, my grandmother had been through the Depression, and we knew what it was, but we hadn't. I was born coming out of the Depression, and you know, it was a tough time for the country, but it was also a time where, you know, like in crisis in this country, I find we show our best selves when we're in crisis. And, you know, when we've had the earthquakes here in LA and everybody suddenly is in everybody else's backyard and we're all talking and supporting each other and terrified and our pets are with us. And we hang together. Maybe most countries do. I'm thinking Venezuela right now and what it's going through with its terrible earthquake and horror. And thinking, here we are in California, right on the San Andreas Fault. It could happen any minute to us. So that's always kind of hanging over our heads when there's a little rattle. We think it's just going to be the big one. And my heart goes to those people.
That's something
I'm literally on my knees praying for them.
That's something our viewers in West Tennessee know a lot about, because we have a fault that's right along the Mississippi River that we always know that there's a possibility. Yeah, back in 1990, there was a geologist at Arizona State who had predicted day and date that a earthquake was going to strike West Tennessee. Now, of course, you can't do that, and we later learned that he was unfortunately experiencing some forms of dementia. But he had the credibility because of his research, and a lot of people were really unnerved about the possibility of that, because that fault is a very real thing right there at the Mississippi River. So we haven't, thankfully, had it happen, but I know everybody looks every time there's one that's reported anywhere, or California or wherever.
I never knew that, Isn't that's terrible? I never knew that.
Yeah, and it's
not alone here in California.
It's something that definitely in 1990 we learned a lot about our own geography and geology where we were. Well, let's talk more about. I want to get back to the Waltons, but I want to talk about the movie that you have done with Pat Boone and other actors, of Tom Wopat, who was in Dukes of Hazzard as part of it, but Our Crossroads, which is the story of a couple that in 1969 suddenly found themselves with a huge family, and it wasn't all easy going. Tell us a little bit about the story of this film, and also the fact that you and Pat Boone are in it together.
Well, we're sort of the frame of the picture in a way. Because the story is really about what they went through when they were young, and she was in a wheelchair, and they adopted all these kids. And I actually spoke to her on the phone, and I couldn't stop laughing. We just had the best time. I felt like I'd known her forever, and to work with Pat Boone was a trip, because I didn't know him as an actor. I knew him as this great singer, this pop star. And here I am suddenly, and I'm old, probably older than he is. I don't even know how old he is, but.
No, you aren't, but I won't mention that.
Okay. But he was great. I mean, he was on target. And he was a genuinely nice person, not pretentious in every way, and not smarmy either. He was just down to earth, a guy, and I loved his shoes. His shoes were great because we used our own clothes. And the whole, I don't know, it was kind of a trip in a way. It was like, when you're starting out in show business and you're working, doing little parts on stage and then hopefully leading lady roles, because I was in repertory at ACT in San Francisco. And that's where I got my training, was being in front of audiences. And then you suddenly go into film, which is completely different kind of technique. And you have to learn to I remember Francis Coppola telling me, just be real. Just be real, because he directed Private Lives at ACT. And I was doing all this style, Noel Coward style, with the long cigarette holder and everything. And he kept getting me back to just being real. And it was funnier when I was real than it was when I was trying to be funny. So I learned a lot from him. He was wonderful to work for. And then at the time, he would scurry off to LA to edit some film he was doing. We didn't know what it was. It turned out to be, he was editing The Godfather. There he was, driving his little rust-colored VW Bug, not even a bus, a Bug, and directing Private Lives and sneaking off to LA on the weekends to edit The Godfather. the first one.
And we all know what that film ultimately captured as far as Oscars and the sequel as well. Michael, how did you end up getting this role in the movie Our Crossroads?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. My agent called and said, "Are you available?" He said, "It's a movie with Pat Boone." And I said, "Pat Boone? Oh my God." And so, and it's a very sweet movie. I haven't seen it actually, but I mean, the scenes that I'm in were very, "Hey, Lucy, what's the matter? Am I scaring you with my high voice?" I have a cold, so I'm sorry. My voice is really awful.
That's quite all right.
Hey, what are you barking? That's Lucy. Lucy is a Chihuahua from Puerto Rico. She owns us.
Yeah, I wondered when I saw her turn around, because we have a Jack Russell, and
she looks like a Jack Russell.
Yeah, the personalities are so similar.
Lucy, what are you doing? It's me. Oh, it's Liz. Dog walker.
What for you when you were doing the Waltons? What was the most challenging thing? I remember a TV critic named Hal Freeman, who said the reason that the Waltons is such a good show is that it's a difficult show to write because it's not formula like so many of the other shows on television. What did you find is the most challenging thing about that role in that show?
For me personally?
Yeah.
Boredom. Because
really?
You want an honest answer. Because a lot of the time, and Earl Hamner was very upfront about it. I'd say, "Earl, I have nothing to do. I'm spending 15 hours saying, 'More coffee, John. Time for bed, kids.' And then what happened? And then where did you go?" And I was just going out of my mind. I'd just come from doing Private Lives with Francis Coppola and Chekhov's Three Sisters, playing Masha. And here I was kind of ironing and saying, "And then where did you go?" And "Time for bed, kids. More coffee, John." Those were and he said, honestly, "We need you in the scene. We need Mama's presence in the scene." And I said, "But do you know what that's like for an actor to spend 15 hours basically asking questions?" And so they really, I bless them because they really went out of their way to try to find something for this character, for Olivia, to do. Because back then, if you remember, if you were a good person, you were boring. And if you were an interesting person, you were evil. I mean, there was Dynasty, there was the Waltons. It was either goody two-shoes or everybody sleeping with everybody else's husband kind of thing. And to try to bring in to the show, I think Ralph and Richard and I worked really hard sometimes, because sometimes the writers kind of idealize the family themselves, and we would say, that's just too icky. It's too nice. It's too good. Can we have a little more, even sarcasm or just some kind of toughness without everybody just huggy kissing all the time? And it eventually kind of, I say, dissolved into the huggy kissy, over the years. It got too nice, if you will. The appealing thing to me about characters is when they're screwing up, when they're acting out of character, not consistently in character as nice or bad. We're all so flawed, and we're all everything, we humans.
The multi-dimensional character, it's somewhat like when I talked to people about Leave It to Beaver, and they said, our show would not have had the pizzazz that it did if we didn't have Eddie Haskell on that show to be the character that he was.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of truth in that, because everybody is multidimensional, and I know that's what you shoot for on that. When the show actually, you win an Emmy, you win another Emmy, and I mean, you are getting a lot of attention. And one thing you probably don't talk about a lot anymore, but I remember that the summer after the first season, and you had just won the Emmy. Richard had just won the Emmy. And suddenly we look and you are on the second week on the panel of Match Game 73 that went on to become the #1 show in daytime television.
Get ready to match the star, Michael Learned and Richard Thomas, as we play the star-studded Big Money Match Game 73. And now here's the host of Match Game 73, Gene Rayburn.
John doesn't trust banks. He keeps his money blank. Did you hear that, Gita? John doesn't trust banks. He keeps his money blank. Michael.
I was going to say under the politicians, but I said under his mattress.
Under his mattress. Now, you must match Richard Thomas or Helene will win the game. Go, Richard.
I want to see the judge. I said in his mattress.
In his mattress, so Helene is our winner. Congratulations to you.
Michael? Easter bonnet.
Easter bonnet is what she says. All right, which other celebrity do you want to work with?
Richard.
Easter bunny.
Easter bunny, he says. The audience seems to like his answer. Now you can choose one of those: Easter egg, Easter bonnet, Easter bunny, or think up one of your own. But right now we call for one response.
I'll try Easter bunny.
You'll try Easter bunny. All right, let's find out how the audience responded. That's the answer that Richard Thomas gave you. We are looking for Easter bunny. May we see the $100 response? Easter parade. Well, that's connected with the Easter bunny, but not quite it. We're still looking for the Easter bunny. May we see the $250 response? Easter Sunday. Well, Helene, we're all around it, but we haven't got it yet. Here is your third and last chance. Looking for Easter bunny, the $500 response. You've got Easter bunny. Very good, Helene. Congratulations.
How much do you remember about that?
I think I try to forget it. I think I made a total idiot. I can't remember, but
no, you didn't.
I Brett Summers as a friend, and I think she got me on the show, and I didn't have a clue. Honest to God, when you're a sort of rep actress and mostly a wife and mother, which is what I was, because I was a 50s wife where the man was the god, and you sort of learned your lines in the bathroom after you cued him. I'm just being general, and specific too. But I think we had a lot of fun. We were living in Toronto, and I met Brett there, and she was just hilarious. And I think she got me on Match Game, but I was so new to the whole world of Hollywood and being a, quote, celebrity. I just remember once sitting somewhere in some hotel, not in the lobby, but, like outside, and thinking, I'm a celebrity. And I think it happens to all of us, where we go from being theater rats to being a, quote, celebrity. And it has its perks. And it also has its, you're also under scrutiny,
Yeah, definitely. The microscope is there.
Yeah.
You left the show, and then you went on to do a show that I thought should have had a 4 or 5 year run, namely Nurse. I thought it had tremendous potential. You were...
Just another patient.
Well, I know he can be difficult. It's not without his considerate moments. There are times when he seems just like anyone else.
Who was attacked by 500 girls in Detroit last week. Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Listen, I know I said we'd go to the movies tonight, but I'd like to take a rain check, okay? What's the catch? How come so easy?
Guess who's back?
Who?
A resident revolutionary.
Helen?
Yeah, she's full of fire, she's full of spunk, and she wants to see you.
Okay, I'll go see Helen. You cook.
All right, well, dinner is served whenever you're ready.
Calvin, don't make a mess.
There was one scene where you were walking down the hall, and all of a sudden on the hospital loudspeaker, you heard calling Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard, and everybody who was a Three Stooges fan in America was on the floor because they knew that was what they did on a Stooges two-reeler where they were...
Probably the only one who didn't know. Honestly.
That was one of the funniest moments, and you weren't expecting something like that. But all of a sudden, your camera following you down the hall, calling Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard.
I think that was I was so exhausted doing that show, and the writers were wonderful New York writers. I was blessed with, the reason the show failed was really my fault. I think I couldn't handle the hours. One day was a 19-hour day. That's a long day.
It
and
is.
You may have the weekend to recover, but you don't recover. You're so exhausted, you can't rest even. And I think it's partly my fault that when I renegotiated the contract, I asked for Mondays off because I knew that I couldn't recoup it in 2 days. And I think they saw it as arrogant, which it was, indeed, I guess, to ask that. And they canceled the show. So I was not very popular with CBS at that time. My own fault.
Well, for what it's worth, there are many of us who were fans of that show that...
I liked it, too.
We enjoyed it, and we thought that it should have had a longer run than it did. But as I've had many people tell me through the years, you don't always predict what the outcome is going to be, no matter how good the show.
Yeah, I think I just insulted the head of CBS. Ethel Winan, who was head of casting, was a dear friend. She really... Nobody knows her name, but I hold her in my heart forever with gratitude because I think she was responsible for my entire career in television. Yeah.
The role of Olivia Walton, of course, had been established by Patricia Neal in the TV movie The Homecoming, but that was her one and only appearance there. And then almost all of the adult roles, with the exception of Ellen Corby, were recast. So from your standpoint, did you feel like you had a complete drawing board to do as you felt the character should be, rather than I guess maybe the thing about it is Patricia Neal would not have been what you would have been as Olivia Walton, obviously. How was that? Or did it just seem like you were just going into something brand new that was not based on a TV movie?
First of all, I want to say that she was so incredibly gracious, and we became very good friends. And I did say to her once, I'm so glad you turned that role down. I'm so grateful to you for that. And she looked at me and just said, "Oh, but I didn't, darling. They didn't want me."
Really?
That's what she said. And I think that this is just me, my thought, because she was so good in it. But I think they were nervous because she had had a stroke.
Yeah.
And they couldn't take the chance that she might have another one. So unfortunately, gratefully from my end, I got the role, but unfortunately for her, I got the role. But she was so gracious. I remember her coming all the way because she was impaired. She was physically impaired from her stroke. And I was sitting in Joe Allen's in New York, and she came all the way. She was way on the other end of the restaurant, all the way over to my table to congratulate me on my performance. And I had never met her before. So from that moment on, I was her biggest, most ardent fan, as a human being as well as an actor.
Well, tremendous actress, no doubt whatsoever.
Yeah.
And to wrap this up, I'd like for you to share with me and our viewers about what the greatest takeaway has been for your career. Because you asked me off camera before we started, am I a classic? Because this is Steve Beverly's TV Classics, and I say indeed you are. But truth be told, what's the biggest and the most important takeaway you've had from your career?
The people I've worked with, really, especially the Waltons, because we were together for so many years that we truly have become family. But over my theater career, I have worked with some of the greats, and I learned so much, mostly, to tell you the truth. I mean, I went to drama school and all that in England. I did all of that. But what I learned is from audiences. And Francis Coppola, again, who just kept saying, keep it real, keep it real. And for camera, you can't fake it. You're a television personality and actor probably as well. And you can't fake it. You gotta the camera doesn't lie.
Well, Michael, it has been a real joy to have you with us on TV Classics. I absolutely unapologetically say that you are one of my all-time favorites. But I know for our fans in West Tennessee and people, I guess maybe to wrap this up, how in the realm of possibility could you have ever considered that you were going to be doing a show that 55 years later is still a favorite on cable and streaming networks? It never ends.
Ralph and I used to make fun of the name, the Waltons. We said nobody's going to watch this show. And it's mind-boggling, and it really turned my entire life around, So I'm grateful because it put my kids through private school and braces and all those things that as a parent I probably would have really had to struggle to be able to afford. And the show got me through all that, and I got a second family from it. So hallelujah.
There you go. Well, we thank you so much for spending your time with us on Steve Beverly's TV Classics, and I hope we can have a visit again. It's just a real thrill to have you here.
I do too, and thank you for making it easy.
It's Sunday night in the living room. Nothing sad, not a time of gloom. Turn on the set and go back in time. TV Classics that won't cost you a dime.
Now you get the idea why I enjoy doing this show so much, in addition to bringing you back to some of your favorite TV memories from the early days of TV, and really making it a reminder that things were fun in an earlier age, but also getting the opportunity to spend just a few minutes with some of the classic legends of TV. It was interesting that before we started rolling tape, that Michael said to me, she looked and she saw Steve Beverly's TV Classics to my side, and she said, "Am I a classic?" And I said, "You better believe you are." She doesn't go back to what you would call TV's earliest vintage era, but 1973, when you think about, it's just hard to imagine, 72, 73, it's hard to imagine that here we are 54 years after the Waltons premiered, and she's still with us and still got a vitality and energy. And didn't you love the way that her dog and her cat tried to steal the limelight by photobombing us a few times? That was pretty interesting, and that's what I loved, is that she was just so relaxed and at home with that. Michael tried her hand at doing a show, as we showed you the clip of, called Nurse. And it was really the kind of show that I think had the opportunity to be extremely successful. But the problem that you had with it, I think, was two. One, it was in a terrible time slot on CBS. But also, I think because it went on the air in 1981-82, and the Waltons was still on the air at that point in time, it seemed a little strange having Olivia Walton, who had been the centerpiece of that family for 9 years, and to see her doing another show and another role and a contemporary role. It just didn't seem right. If Nurse had come along a couple of years after that, maybe the mid-1980s, after the Waltons went off the air, perhaps it would have been a livelier show. But a lot of people forget that Michael attempted to do comedy. She did. In 1989, one of the writers for Who's the Boss on ABC came up with a concept of a show about a teen modeling agency and a woman who was, shall we say, very, very demanding of her girls, but that this was the kind of show that they felt like could possibly have a bit of the magic of the facts of life. So they did a pilot that aired on Who's the Boss. And it did make the ABC schedule for the fall of 1989. So here is a woman who had been through the travails of the Depression on the Waltons, and now she's going to be amidst all of these teen girls in a contemporary era, and it's going to be comedy. The show is called Living Dolls. We won't have time to show you all of it, but let me show you just a bit of what Michael was like in that show. She enjoyed the cast and she enjoyed the basic concept of the show. But I'll tell you more about that after we watch this clip from Living Dolls.
Little girl, it's amazing the way you light up the screen. When I first saw your face on the cover of a magazine, you caught my eye. It's no mystery why the camera doesn't lie. Take your best shot, pretty baby, you got the look. Take your best shot, just one was all it took to see you got the look. Take your best shot, pretty baby, you got the look. Take your best shot.
Hi, Sam. Come on in.
Thanks. Ooh, great place.
Thanks. Put down your bag. I'll show you around.
Okay. Oh, look, I hate to do this to you, but if I don't, my dad'll kill me.
Let me guess. Pictures of himself.
He said you never know when your modeling agency might need a roaming god.
Oh, thanks. I'll file it under Mediterranean deities.
So, how's Charlie doing?
Oh, Charlie will be fine. We've had a few misunderstandings, a few little bumps along the way.
She's driving you nuts.
Yeah. But having an old friend like you here will really help her out.
Oh, it'll really help me out, too. With the article for my school newspaper, I mean.
What do you think the kids will be most interested in about modeling?
Well, the girls all dream about being a model, and the guys all dream about... Why don't we get started? My tape recorder. Okay, Trish Carlin. You're an ex-model who now runs a top modeling agency. Is it fair to say that your life is exciting and glamorous?
Mom, could you help me scrape off my high tops? I think I stepped in something.
Oh. Yeah, the glamour never ends around here. And this is the exercise room. I never use it myself. But the girls have to stay fit, so they start their day here at 7 a.m.
Oh, whoa. To be 16 and a real model in New York, these girls must wake up every morning and thank God. Mornings make me barf.
Girls, this is Samantha Maselli, who's writing that article I told you about. Please cooperate with her.
No problem, Trish. We'll treat her just like she was one of us.
That's what I'm afraid of. Where's Charlie?
Oh, she said she'd be a little late this morning.
Again?
Trish, why do you take on grungy little street girls like Charlie?
I have my reasons.
Well, I think models should be more like...
You?
Exactly. But then again, there is only one of me.
Yet it seems like one too many.
Good morning, ladies.
Hi.
Workout time. 2 minutes of free stretch starting now.
Joe knows you're here, so interview away. You want to start with Caroline?
Caroline's the one by the mirror?
Caroline is always the one by the mirror. Okay, ladies, I've got your appointments for today. Emily, the jeans people want you for a call back at 2:30.
All right.
And tell Caroline she's got a 4 o'clock in Studio B.
You got it. Wow. Sounds like everyone's booked solid. What about Martha and Charlie?
Well, that depends. How's the sociology paper coming along?
Great. We're about halfway through.
I see. And if I were to guess which half of the work hadn't been done, what are my chances of guessing right?
I'd have to say pretty good.
Then I'd have to say no auditions.
Look, it'll get done soon. Then you could have the full army of little money makers out there working for you.
Look, Charlie, this isn't about my making money. It's about you learning to be a responsible person and have some discipline.
Okay, I get the message.
Charlie, I can help you adjust to living here, but you've got to do your part too, okay?
Yeah, okay. Okay. I just like hanging out in front of army recruiting centers. Helps me to be all that I can be.
Charlie, you're not always the tough guy, and you know it.
Yeah, well, you see, that shows how much you know about me.
I'll tell you what. I want you to come over here, look in this mirror, and tell me what you see. Humor me. Okay. All right, what do you see?
I see 2 people. And one of them has better things to do with her time than look at herself in the mirror.
Well, as I mentioned, that was from 1989. The show absolutely did not click. It was canceled after 12 weeks. It barely made it to Christmas. And that was the end of Living Dolls, and that was the end of Michael Learned's attempt at comedy on television. Now, what I will tell you is that she really, really loved her cast and enjoyed the atmosphere there. But she said, I don't think the writers could ever really figure what they wanted to do with my character. And she said, I think they really wanted me to be Charlotte Ray on The Facts of Life. And that was just not me. And so the chemistry just didn't click. And also, the time slot, again, was not good on ABC. And so Living Dolls, after a dozen episodes, expired. But this is a lady that continued on and is still performing today. And as I mentioned during the course of the interview, she is now in a movie with Pat Boone, and it is a Christian-based movie. It's called Our Crossroads, and it follows a young couple at different stages of life, but at a very young age, they ended up adopting a multitude of children. And it carries them all the way until the later years, which are played by Michael Learned and Pat Boone. Our Crossroads is now available on the Angel streaming platform. So if you have the Angel app, and if you don't get it, but the Angel streaming platform now has Our Crossroads available for you to watch, and I think you will truly enjoy it. Well, next week, we continue our 3-week celebration of our 17th anniversary on television with TV Classics, and our special guest star is going to be a young man. I still call him a young man because I think of him that way. He's older than I am, but Stan Livingston, Chip from My Three Sons, and next week, he is going to take the ultimate My Three Sons trivia quiz, and wait till you see how he does. I can tell you it will be a moment you will never forget, and we'll have a great visit with him as well, and we'll also see him in one of his pre-My Three Sons episodes on Ozzie and Harriet. It's been great to have you with us tonight. My great thanks to Michael Learned for giving us her time and telling us so many wonderful stories about the Waltons and the rest of her fabulous show business career. 4-time Emmy winner. That's all we have for you tonight, and we'll be back with you again next Saturday night. Stay tuned next for the Lawrence Welk Show. And until we are with you again, this is Steve Beverly saying, remember the famous words of Chuck Tomlin, who said, I dare say this, but I'm going to. Do you know what benign is? It's what you be after you be ate. Please don't throw things. I'll give you Chuck's phone number and you can call him and tell him what you think. Until we're with you next week, so long from the Sunshine State.
So long from the Sunshine State.
Steve Beverly's TV Classics Duo. Yeah!
This is PBS.